everybody. Welcome to the Threadheads podcast. I'm your host, Inui. And today we are joined by the one, the only. We have Brenna Menz on the show. Brenna, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I was super excited when you asked for me to join.
Yeah, but I mean, you're the one of the OGs. I mean, I remember when I had fucking 14 people follow me on Threads, and you were actually one of them. So, and
Yeah. And
yeah,
look at where we are now. It's
yeah, it's
so,
amazing.
oh,
I love it. No, and I was so positively surprised about people actually being into the podcast idea. So, and it was literally nothing it just came to me. It just came to me like that. I never want to show my face on the internet, to be honest.
oh,
Um,
yes. It's such a hill to get over, but once you do, you're like, wow, this is fun.
yeah, and my horrendous introvertedness just doesn't do me any favors. So anyway, uh, we're gonna talk a little bit more about you actually. So, um, I see you released your first single in 2011
Yeah.
on Spotify. But when did you actually get into making music?
Into making music on my own, I would say 2011, actually. So, Um, that song came about because the fast food job that I worked at in high school, because that was my senior year of high school. For anyone who doesn't know where I was at in 2011. I was working at a fast food place that was like a local place, and the one of the guys that I worked pretty closely with was in his own band, and he did producer work and guitar work for friends when they wanted like help or anything. And since I didn't know how to play any instruments, and I still don't know how to play guitar. I needed a lot of help. So I had been going through a breakup and woke up in the middle of the night and was like, lyrics. I gotta write them all down. It was like the weirdest thing that had ever happened to me because it had never happened to me before. And yeah, I just had like half of a song, I think. And so when I came to him and asked him, like, can you help me? Like, get this song going because I want to get this idea out. And he's like, well, yeah, sure. Like I can if you give me some like reference tracks or something, I can like make something up and like we can meet together and see how it sounds. And he helped me kind of finish the song. He kind of like was my little coach into this is how you should sound and songwrite and stuff. So it was interesting because other than that, I had only ever been in choir, which is a very different world from songwriting and singing your own songs because choirs are obviously groups. You're supposed to blend your voices together and not stand out. So it was a big change for me.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, I know the feeling you're talking about, especially when you tap into this frequency of and stuff just comes to you. It's not as frequent as one wants to necessarily, but yeah, it's always so amazing when that happens. So what does your writing process look like in today?
Today, it's still so me for the most part, when I write a song, I will either be like sitting around just being like, oh, thinking up ideas and thinking of like what's going on in my life or what's a story or just thoughts going, like the people that have an inner monologue do, where it just kind of runs. And then I'll be like, hey, this is a great lyric idea, and then I'll just write it down. But a lot of the times for the songs that I've written and done already and released, it's because I'm listening to like a specific song or a couple of different songs that I get this idea and the words just like pour out because of whatever I'm going through at the time, and the words usually have a melody, which is weird because it's not like the words or any of the melody are even that similar at all to the song that I'm listening to, but for some reason that song like helps me frame my own melody. It's probably the weirdest way that I've been told people write songs, but that's how I do it.
Yeah, no, that's really interesting actually, because I mean, I work the other way around. The
Yeah.
music informs the lyrics. So you basically come up with words and you have sort of a vocal melody, and then you work with someone or
Yeah.
on your own with piano, I assume.
Yeah. And so the song is usually based on either the feeling or the instrument sound that I want the song, the end goal to be. But sometimes it's just like, hey, I came up with this melody and it has very little similarities to the song I was listening to. And now I need to figure out what exactly I want it to sound like. What instruments do I want? Like, do I want something more electronic? Do I want something actually instrumental? Or do I want like upbeat, sad? Like, what am I going for? And I try to map out the whole thing.
All right. Yeah, that's an interesting approach, I must say. Um, so how much theory do you usually apply once you have sort of a vocal melody?
Probably very little. I don't know a lot of music theory other than what my like vocal teacher and piano teacher has taught me and shared with me. So whatever I'm using is just my like previous music knowledge, I guess,
All right.
of going to choir for years and just kind of knowing things, I guess.
So do you dabble in any sort of production software at all?
I have a DAW, and I have tried to mess around with it a little bit, but honestly, no. I realize that most of the stuff that I would need to mess around with it, like the MIDI and everything. I at the time when I was getting started, I didn't have my keyboard that I have now, which is actually a MIDI keyboard, which is nice. But I had no idea what to do, and I was like, this sounds like years of trying to learn something that's computer based, which is not my strongest skill. And it's not for me and my brain with how it works, it doesn't make as much sense to me as just like the other musical parts that I come up with. So that one I'm still struggling with. I am obviously, as you know, working with a producer who helps me a lot on those things, and he's been teaching me a lot of those things as we go. So it's not just he helps me and then that's it. It's like he's helping teach me what he's doing as well.
All right. Yeah, no, that's great. So how do you record your ideas once you get them? Is it voice note or?
Yeah, it's usually a voice memo. Especially if it's a melody. If it's lyrics, I just write it down in my little notepad. But if it's a melody, then I'll do voice memos. I'll try to do like multiple takes of the voice memo, and then I'll usually bring those to the producer, and we'll come up with what the song is gonna be essentially.
So what's the most inconvenient place you ever got a song idea?
Either in the middle, so okay, so it's either like on public transit because I'm not gonna like outgoing people, sure, maybe, but like Seattle is a very uh not overly outgoing friendly place. So for someone to just like whip out something and record something really loudly in the middle of public transit, they might just yeah, might think you're like on drugs or something. So that's not really me. And I would have to say on the bus or train, we actually have a light rail, or when I was driving, that was the one that made me the angriest because I tried so hard to like pause the music I was listening to and like bring up a voice memo and like try to record it, but it was like I swear by the time I actually had everything open, I was like, I don't remember what I was gonna sing. It's like I don't remember any of the things I was thinking. It was yeah, it sucked.
Yeah, no, it's the most annoying thing. And I recognize the thing about once I was also on a public transport, like a bus that was absolutely packed to the brim, like rubbing shoulders with people.
Yeah,
And I
like
was
you're not gonna just whip something out.
no, and the thing I did was like I had to remember this one because I was also listening to a song and then I get an idea, which rarely happens to me. Because sometimes I try to sort of put a lid on my influences, not to try to copy something
Yeah,
in a sense. But yeah, I was standing up and I got this melody, so I was like try to lightly like whistle it for
like
like
hum
five
it.
minutes,
Yeah.
whistle it for 5 minutes, and then guy was he had his back towards me and it was the same height, and he probably thought I was messing with him because I was like I was blowing air into his ear, you know.
Oh my
So
God.
yeah, that was horrible. But then as soon as I got off, I managed to record the idea. But did I continue and work on that idea? Not a fucking chance. Uh,
Yeah.
I don't know why. Uh,
Yeah, I feel the same way with the car idea is I still have it. Do I remember what it's for? No. I have no idea. Maybe I'll use it someday, probably not.
but how many of the ideas you come up with do you actually follow through and go to a producer and stuff like that?
That is yet to be decided, I
Okay.
guess, because this isn't how long all of it takes for me. It's like so far, obviously, I've only had the three new ones. And there are a couple more that I'm for sure like enough lyrics and ideas that I have for sure that I will present to him. There's other ones that, that I still had written ideas for. So, um, there's one that I've been kind of struggling to write for the since probably 2011 or 2012 because yeah, I couldn't get it. I just couldn't get it to go. And yeah, I couldn't I don't know. There's a lot of song ideas that just kind of like float around in the ether in my brain that I'm like, will I ever do anything with this? I have no idea because maybe it's only like two lines of like the concept. And I'm like, okay, but if I don't have more, it's a cool concept, but I don't want to stretch out the concept just to get a song out of it. So if it's not giving me more, then I'll leave it for something that is giving me ideas.
So do you mainly work off of inspiration?
It seems to be that way, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. It's like if I released everything I wanted, like then I would have an album already. But
Yeah, exactly.
I just hate when that initial excitement just wears off. And then you sometimes revisit it and the excitement doesn't come back. So you're like, yeah, you know.
Yep. It's hard. And that's I guess the only time that I don't work from inspiration is like with a collab. If somebody asks me to like help them with this or, or just like be a vocalist on the song that they already have written, then it's, there isn't really any inspiration. It's more of like s following what they're trying to do with the song, I guess.
Yeah. Um, let's see. I do have. I'm just checking my notes here. Um, so I gotta say I did go through and listen to all your music, and I must say it's even the one you released in 2011. There's a pretty nice consistency with all the tracks that you have released in production and in vocals, and you have a really nice voice, and I think the songs really serve your voice in a very nice way.
That's
Uh,
good. I'm glad to hear that.
yeah, no, that's
I've heard
amazing.
a lot
So
of the contrary as well, so
yeah, well, those people are wrong. So um, so do you have any advice for women looking for producers? Like, do you have anything
um
good to look for, or what do you look
that's a good
for?
question because there are plenty of producers looking for songwriters, singers to work on their tracks. So, um, the problems that I've run into is finding producers that want to work on your ideas and not because they want to work their ideas with your voice, essentially. And you can obviously do that if you have like that kind of collab agreement, but if that's not what you're looking for a producer for, then that's probably not going to work well in the long run. For me, I found my producer on this app called Vamper. And it helps a lot of musicians find, whatever they're looking for. So if you're looking for like a band to join and you play bass or guitar or something, and you're looking for a band that needs that, that app works great. Does it always work great? No, because it's not just local. So you have to be really specific with like what you're looking for and where you're located. But obviously, I found my producer on there and he was great. Like, we did a video call and he was exactly the kind of producer that I was looking for. So it was really nice.
So you did everything remotely with the last release, or?
We actually meet up because he lives in my state. Like, it's a little bit of a drive, but it's not that far. So, um, yeah, because his studio is like a home studio. It's been pretty nice and not creepy. So,
That's great.
yeah.
But have you had producers working with them remotely as well?
I have been contacted by people that wanted to, and then after I found the first producer that I agreed to work with, I don't know how well for me that would go because a lot of our like songwriting ideas work so much better in person because we're like, spitballing ideas back and forth or like talking about things and like you can't play me. I guess you could like play me what you think the song should sound like over a Zoom call, but like it's gonna sound different, obviously. And I don't know, it's gonna be harder for me to be like, hey, can we do this? Unless
Yeah.
I'm there.
Yeah, and I probably think it's easier to try out ideas and you actually have some kind of energy in the room when you're with
Yeah.
someone. Um, so yeah, no, I totally get that. I'm actually yet to collaborate at all. Um, I'm not ready, to be honest. I feel like I
Yeah,
mentioned.
which is good to know. Like
Yeah,
there's plenty of times where I was like, I'm gonna say no on this one because like I just like either don't have the energy or don't have the time or like the thing you want me to collab with just isn't my thing, I guess.
yeah. I just feel like you don't want me on your group project. It's like either it's never gonna get finished or I'm just gonna like everything the other person does and I'm not gonna do anything. And I'm like, yeah, added a tambourine on your beat though. That's called a collab. So yeah, I don't
Yes.
know. And the fact that I haven't really found, or there are a few people in my genre, but like then always when I listen to other people's stuff, it's like they're so much better than I am. I'm nothing to.
Oh,
No, it's true. I'm not trying to be humble at all. It's just I know my level, so I try to
yeah,
stay.
you want to get to the level before you get collabing, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that will make sense. Um, so do you have tips for other women that want to work with producers? Do you have anything that's good to what they should look for and what they should consider and that kind of stuff?
I do. So for me, I looked for someone who is extremely professional and not like someone who which I mean this is vague and like not maybe not great advice, but for me it was someone who was professional and like clearly had professional equipment and like their own space and studio. Like he does this for a living. He's not like doing it in his spare time. Obviously, there's nothing wrong with producers that do it in their spare time. They probably do a good job, some of them. But it wasn't the kind of work ethic I was looking for. So I would say for professionalism and then for someone who can be specific with what they're offering you. Because yeah, we had like a professional Zoom call and like he wanted to know like all of like what I was looking for, like somebody who wants to get to know you and what you're looking for and like what your music tastes are and like how you write songs and all of that, like getting to know how your brain works because otherwise you're not really working with someone. You're just like, "Hey, do you want me to make a beat for you?" It's like, "Well, but how do you know what I want though?"
Yeah. Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. So, and I think that's pretty solid advice. But yeah, uh, I obviously produce my own stuff, but I think it sounds difficult to actually produce for someone else and get their
Yeah, I
vision.
would
Like
think
that's,
so.
I mean, because all my songs sound kind of the same, and if you don't into that, I don't know what to do,
Yeah.
So, but
Yeah, because
yeah,
you have to like come up with different stuff and you have to make sure that you're not like reusing stuff for other people's songs and like recycling things and actually making it to their vision and not your own. And so it's hard. And when we do like check in every once in a while, like, hey, is this what you want? Like every step of the way we go through um if we change anything big or if he makes a change, then he'll be like, okay, do you like this? What do you not like about it? That kind of thing. And so I've had to go through a lot of like learning to figure out what specific things I don't like when I hear something, or I'm like, I need to speak more professionally. So I know exactly like, I don't like this sound, but like, I need to be able to tell you what instrument that is, or like what sound that you did made that so that I can just say, hey, I don't like the hi-hats or something like I didn't like that you put that in there or who knows, or the reverb or I don't know.
yeah, no, no, I totally get that. What's the name of the producer that you work with on your last track?
I'm it.
Okay, big shout out to him. I will put his information on the screen, so he can be found by other people as well.
Yeah, he's
Um,
fantastic.
so speaking of fading, obviously fantastic production. The vocals are super nice, and like I mentioned before, it does serve your voice in a really really pretty way.
Thank you.
Um, the
Worked
funny thing,
really hard on that one.
yeah. So to be honest, I got first time I listened to, it, I got a little bit thrown off. The first time I listened to it because I thought I accidentally called someone when the phone stuff came in. I was like, "What the hell is going on?"
We actually did use my phone for that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I figured. So it's yeah. No, that was cool and it's a bit different as well. So how long did it actually take for you to finish that song?
So that one annoyed me. So not because of anything anyone else did, but that one should have been done and ready to release like right after the new year, because that was the plan. Because my previous one was in November, so I was trying to like space them out by a couple months. And because Christmas was busy. But instead, I got really sick right before we were supposed to do all the vocal recording and then it was the holidays and then I was still sick and so it was just kept getting things pushed back and obviously he has other people he works with too so we have to like schedule it around that and it was yeah it was yeah so we had to push out the vocal recording for at least another month and so everything got pushed back by at least a month. It was frustrating.
Yeah, no, I totally get that, but I guess a little bit extra time to market, I suppose.
Yeah, that's true.
That
So
may
in total, I would say, because I didn't actually answer your question, I realized. I would say we started as soon as I had finished the last one. So, uh, probably with me being sick, like 5 months. Yeah,
right.
which is absurdly long to me for one song, but
It's okay.
Ugh.
It's I work way longer on my songs because I'm a perfectionist, you know.
Yeah, same.
It's
It's a problem.
and yeah, especially when you do your own stuff, you know, I have to wear so many different hats, and I have
Yeah.
I have to adjust my perspective to the hat I'm wearing as well, which can be challenging in some ways, and you know, it changes with the mood as well. So one day I can think, oh, this is pretty cool, and then the next day it's like, this is trash. So so yeah.
Yeah, I definitely feel that. Ugh, hate that.
So yeah, it's so weird how your perspective can just reset from day by day, you know, or from the next meal to the next, I suppose.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
so what do you feel is some of the most important aspects of producers working with female singer-songwriters?
I think again the professionalism because a lot of producers that I met that usually are the ones that want to work with women are men. So making sure it's a professional environment, making sure you're actually listening to them, and if they do already know a lot of stuff, listen to them.
Yeah.
Listen to their ideas and don't just say, "Oh, well, this is my idea and I think it sounds better."
Yeah. No, that
Uh,
makes sense.
like, like
Because
you're
I,
working with them for a specific reason. They're probably paying you, and your ideas, sure, while they might be appreciated at some point, that song is still that person's song. So if they have ideas, at least explain why you think it doesn't work or, do it anyways. Like
yeah.
sometimes you just got to do what you got to do and you're not always going to like it.
Yeah, and I guess in some sense, the way an idea is explained is not necessarily what it sounds like. Sometimes you just have to try it out and see.
Exactly. Yeah, because I've had a lot of that. So, like, obviously, me and my producer don't always, I mean, we get along, but we don't always agree on things. So, for instance, for fading, he wanted to do the voicemail that's in there. That was his idea. I wanted to do the the bridge that I had written, essentially. And so we were like, okay, well, why don't we just try both? Let's just record both and see like which one we like better. So obviously, like I didn't hate his idea. I was just like I had been very attached to my own idea and I was like, well, this is how I like wanted it to go, you know? I didn't want to just have a random voicemail in my song. And so instead, when we recorded it, I was like, I can't decide because I like both of them. And he was just kind of like unsure. And so I remember being like, can you layer them? I was like, can you put them both? And I want to hear what it sounds like. He's like, yeah, okay. Like he definitely gave me a look of like, this is gonna suck, but like whatever. So, and I was like, oh my God, no, I love this. Just like make the vocals a little quieter in the background, and I love it. Like, let's do both. So that's how that happened.
Yeah, no, and I really love that part of the song. It's such a it's like a bit of an air candy and also very different from what you hear in today's music. Uh
Yeah.
so it
Oh,
might be a masterstroke actually.
yeah. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
hoping to like, you can choose whichever one you want to listen to. You can drown out the voicemail and listen to what I'm singing, or you can drown out the singing and listen to what I'm saying in the voicemail. It's like either one.
Yeah. No, 100%. We're gonna take a short break. We'll be right back with Brenna.
We haven't talked in weeks, and I can't tell what you think. I feel you slipping away.
All right, everybody, we're back with Brenna. So, um, since we're all indie artists, musicians, that mainly watches this podcast at least. And what do you think is the biggest challenge as an indie artist at this point?
At this point, definitely getting your music heard by people, which is weird because it's technically easier than it has ever been with social media and everything, but social media pumps people full of ads all damn day. Like, people get sick of that stuff. And they already get ads from musicians they actually know and already know that they like too. So it gets a little overwhelming for people, especially for those that don't use social media very often. So it gets hard to reach the right people with your music because everybody's music is got an intended audience, and you don't always reach that intended audience just from random social media posts. So getting heard, and then also as of lately, it's finding a safe place to be heard because you're oh, suddenly my music is getting botted and now my music is going to get taken down forever because DistroKid or TuneCore or whoever you use as a distributor doesn't want to pay the fine when Spotify fines them for your playlist that got botted or whatever. So it's
Yeah.
rough.
Yeah, it's a fucking slippery slope.
Yeah.
And my God, it makes me angry. Like,
Yeah, because that's like something you have no control over whatsoever. Like, I did not submit to anything. What do you mean? Like, why is all of my stuff getting taken down? Or, for those people that have gotten all of their stuff taken down, like there isn't a solution after that. They just don't get
y-
their music heard. I mean, you can go on Bandcamp, but most people who aren't musicians, I don't even think know what Bandcamp is, let alone use it. So that's the hard part.
and let alone feel like buying your actual music when you can listen to
Yeah,
it for free somewhere else. So
exactly.
yeah, it's a weird one. I think, yeah, I could never, I don't have the heart to ask anyone to pay for my fucking music. I mean, you can just hear it on YouTube
No.
and I'm
Like
happy.
if you really wanted to, I'd be so thankful, but
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
I just want you to listen to it and like it.
Yeah. No, yeah, it's such a weird place to live on the internet with this. Um, yeah.
Yeah, I
No, it
hate it.
just yeah, and I do have a theory about it though, because literally anyone can make a playlist. You don't even have to be a
Yeah,
musician. And then it's the way you curate it, and you can actually bring in some money based on how often it's saved and all that kind of stuff. Um, what I can imagine, and this is just a theory, is that people do these playlists and then they actually bought the playlist
ooh,
and they bring in listeners that way, and then they don't have to take any heat, or
yeah.
well, I guess it hurts the artist the most really, but yeah, then I guess
They don't care if they're not the artist, so
yeah, but then again, I mean, Spotify is in bed with all these distributors. they
yeah.
they own like half of DistroKid, like they have
Yeah.
so much invested in that, so and and they have like maybe one representative per 250,000 artists. Like, how the fuck is that going to work?
It doesn't.
No, it
It
clearly
literally
doesn't.
doesn't.
Yeah.
You wanted to be represented? Ha, that's funny. Good
Yeah.
joke.
Yeah. No, the joke is like it's named DistroKid because it's run by actual children.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So it's
We'll
just terrible.
distribute it, but no promises that it'll get to the right places, and then we'll take it down if we feel like it.
Yeah. And I mean, I heard the threshold is like 89% as well.
Oh my God.
So
How do they even, and that's the thing that's like, okay, but how do you decide? Is it like 80% overall or like 80% in one day or like, cause like which time frame is this 89% or whatever? Like, what do you mean though?
yeah, and I mean, if you have like let's say 50 plays, and then you buy, let's say 500 plays, you're shooting
Yeah.
yourself in the foot already.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, it's yeah, it's wild. It's really wild. Um,
Hate it.
but I know you actually market your songs the proper way with video snippets of your songs. How much improvement have you seen? Have you noticed since you started making them?
For my videos or for the like I guess people that have been seeing them or
Yeah,
like interaction, I guess, from it.
yeah. How many people you actually have driven into to Spotify by doing the marketing?
That's a good question. I feel like maybe a handful. Not probably that many. I definitely think it was more than when I wasn't doing it. But I that one's hard too because a lot of it lately is just from joining threads and being on there. So it's hard to separate the two events that happened. I would say I saw a tiny little bit of improvement from marketing my songs like on Instagram videos, but not even remotely close to what I've seen on threads.
Yeah, no, yeah, I'm still conflicted by whether it's worth doing it or not because I mean we have threads and it's just I was so positively surprised by the whole community, you know, because I literally started with social media this year. Before that, I didn't have social media, like nothing. I have a Facebook Messenger. That's what I have.
Yeah.
Because I was always skeptical towards social media because you can't really escape because you're gonna read about the fucker anyway, anywhere. You,
Yeah.
this person said this on social media and all that kind of stuff. So, um, and I think we actually hit like a good window of opportunity by being so early on threads as well and can sort of shape the community in a sense. And it's just so heartwarming to see, everyone is so positive and everyone is so wholesome. And the way everyone's, or at least my feed is curated, it's just musicians and cat pictures
Yeah,
occasionally and
it's
stuff like that.
it's
So
great.
you don't need anything else really.
No,
So,
I mean, you get all the other bullshit and
mm.
have it somewhere else, but like leave my thread feed alone. I
Yeah, no,
love it.
100%. I mean, it's so good to see, but it also made me realize I completely understand why social media is so addictive now.
Yeah,
Uh,
I have to keep reminding myself to like you gotta put your phone down though. You gotta stop getting sucked into it so hard. Just because you're having fun with the people on threads doesn't mean that you need to look at it constantly.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
I'm very guilty of that myself.
Yeah.
So I want to talk a little bit about Taylor Swift.
Okay.
Um,
Who doesn't? I mean, come on. She's fantastic.
I know you're a big Swiftie, but what do you think her inner monologue is like?
Oh, I would love to know that. Um, that's a good question. I feel like from what I know about how she writes songs, it's a little similar to mine, where she just kind of like has a spur of the moment idea of like lyrics and melody, and then we'll like voice record it or something. Um, so I have to assume that she has inner monologues that are just kind of like going over everything she's ever done in life and like what her plans are and trying to shape it in a way that she can write about it.
Yeah, yeah, she's obviously very successful. I can't tell you one song she's written though. I don't think I've ever heard it. I mean, I probably heard it, but I didn't know it was her.
But yeah, you didn't know. Yeah,
It's
it happens.
yeah, but she's been around for a good decade.
Oh yeah, since MySpace, I found her on MySpace
Oh, really?
back when MySpace was a thing. Yeah,
But is she from Nashville or she moved there
she
eventually?
was originally. Yeah,
All right, yeah. Yeah, that could probably play a part since it's a mecca of music making, as far as I
yeah,
understand.
yeah.
I I looked it up on a map, like recording studio. It's like chicken pox.
They're just
Yeah.
everywhere. And it
Like,
actually, so I don't remember if she moved to Nashville from somewhere else. She might have actually been like somewhere else in that general area. I don't remember. I remember she ended up in Nashville
yeah,
because that's, the place to go if you're wanting to be a country singer. And
yeah.
that's what she wanted to do. So, ugh,
But yeah,
lucky.
but I wonder if, I mean, she can't go out anywhere. I mean, you,
No, that would suck. Like I mean, as much as I admire her and stuff, like I wouldn't want her level of fame. I really like having a private life and not having, to make sure I wear the right thing every time I step outside or, that I can't take my cat to the vet without people hounding me or like some random bullshit like that. It's like, what? What do you mean?
do you think she'll ever get married?
I don't know. I guess that's up to whether or not she wants to. It's, I mean, there's so many conflicting things. There's like people that think she really wants to. I think she's having a fucking great time with her life right now, and that might just complicate things. Now, a lot of people don't get married anymore. They just have like lifelong partnerships and call it what it is, but it depends. Yeah, I know she used to be somewhat religious, I think, but
Mm.
depends on if she wants that or not, or she wants to focus more on her career. And if
Yeah,
that person is not gonna let her focus on her career, then obviously then they suck. So
yeah, no, it's a good point there about the marriage. I mean, it's just it's essentially a legal thing. You know,
yeah,
it's
I mean
a
it makes taxes easier and like life care things, like if you were in the hospital and
yeah.
something or other, I don't know, like if you were dying, maybe,
Mm.
I don't know.
Yeah, I guess I don't myself, I don't really see the benefit, but that's me being a dude.
It's me being a dude. Yeah, that's
Um,
fair.
so yeah, actually about Taylor Swift, when I was doing a bit of preparation, I was like, how many Taylor Swift questions should I have? I'll have one good one. But then I was like,
It's always
and
more.
yeah, I know she had a bunch of boyfriends, so what I wanted to do is like, okay, I want to see how many albums she has compared to how many boyfriends, just to see if there's any
Oh,
correlation
just
there.
yeah. Oh,
But
there's
then
always correlation.
but then I decided let's not be an asshole. So, but yeah, it's I thought it was interesting. But yeah, no, she's very talented and she has earned her success. So, all power to her.
Yes.
Now, um, I do have one more question before we get into the subscriber questions. What's the best advice you've ever given?
Best advice I've ever given?
You were ever given? Yeah.
I've ever given?
No,
I've
that you
ever been
received.
given. I've
Yeah.
that I've received. Okay. That's a good question. I don't know a lot of people that give me great advice. Let me try to remember because I have a terrible memory. I would have to say I don't know if anyone's ever actually like said this to me. Maybe they did. Like maybe my therapist said it. I don't know. Maybe it's just something that I like tell myself, but like I like to remind myself that, life is really short and if you don't do it now, then you'll regret it. And if you don't try, you'll never know that you could have done it. If you don't try, you'll never know that you couldn't have done it. Like it doesn't matter what the end result is, but the trying is where it's like you're actually trying to do something instead of just existing in life and not living life. You got to actually live life to enjoy it?
Yeah, no, I totally
Sometimes
get
I
that.
ramble and don't always make sense.
No, I know
Hopefully I
exactly.
got the point. Okay.
I know exactly what you're trying to say. It's you rather regret the things you did than the things you didn't.
Yeah, exactly. And there are very few things that I regret that I've done. I only regret the things where I'm like, why didn't I do this sooner? Or like, why didn't I do that? Or like, why didn't I learn how to play the guitar? Like, what the hell?
Yeah, no, I relate hard to that one. So we're gonna go into a few subscriber questions, and we'll get the first one from Casey. What's your favorite part of the process?
Favorite part of the process. Okay. I would have to say that one's hard. So my I feel like I have two different answers to this because I work on my own and then I work with a producer. So on my own, my favorite part of the process is when I first come up with an idea that I feel like is actually going to go somewhere and I'm like, "Oh my God, I actually like have something that's like more than just one line of a melody lyric. But I have like this whole idea and I have the story of where the song is going, and I have an actual melody that fluctuates and changes, that I still working on it, but like that initial like hit of inspiration, I love that part. And I wish you could like manufacture that, but like obviously that doesn't happen.
Yeah, no, totally get that. It's a wonderful feeling. It's absolutely the best feeling in the world when you get that momentum. And yeah, no, that's a great answer.
But for my producer, when I'm working with somebody else, the favorite part is when I'm actually showing them all of my ideas and like, this is what I want the song to sound like. This is the structure, or like, this is the idea that I had for it, and this is the melody, and this is the story behind what the song is about. Because we go through all of that. Like, we have a whole discussion about it. And then it'll come up with something, and I'm like, this is perfect. This sounds exactly how it sounds in my head, what I wanted. And I love that part. It's great.
yeah. Yeah, no, that's amazing. I love that. It's so good to hear. And
It's so hard to get. Like,
yeah,
I mean, it
true.
doesn't happen every time, but like it gets there eventually. And I'm like, how did you even do this? You're a magical wizard. Like, what?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, that's awesome. We got a couple from our very good friend Mainframe.
Oh,
He asks, which Zelda is her favorite?
ooh. That's gonna be so that's hard now because I haven't finished Tears of the Kingdom yet, but I used to say Breath of the Wild. So I mean, it's either one of them. I would say Breath of the Wild because because it was such a big thing when it first came out, and Tears of the Kingdom is basically like a recycled Breath of the Wild with like added stuff. So the impact of how different the entire game was would probably make Breath of the Wild my favorite one.
Nice. So he also asks, what's your overall favorite video game?
Overall favorite video game
Yeah.
of all life?
Mm-hmm.
Well, my overall favorite franchise is Zelda. So I could say Breath of the Wild again,
Yeah. Fair,
probably.
fair
As
enough.
otherwise it's gonna be some other random, like, I don't know, Skyrim or something.
Yeah.
Something else that's like Breath of the Wild, but with dragons.
That's cool. What year was that Zelda released?
Breath of the Wild, I don't it was a little while ago. It was like right when the Switch came out. No. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah. It
have
was
no
like
idea.
right when it was like right when the Switch came out. So whenever the hell that was, I don't remember when that was. It was like before the pandemic, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
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 Good timing, I guess. Uh, so and we have something from Flan as well. A good friend Flan. Shout out.
Okay.
Yeah. He wanted us to
What is
talk.
it?
He wanted us to talk about your bunny, and I
How does he
totally
know I
agree.
have a bunny though?
Maybe you showed some pictures or something.
When did I ever mention this fact?
I remember there was one thread you actually mentioned you had a bunny and a cat, and I was like, oh,
Damn
that's a
it.
picture.
You
Yeah,
spiders. You spied on me.
yeah. You get stalked on social media where we all want the
And
followers.
then I forget that I mentioned things.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, it's funny. So how long have you had the bunny?
She is about 6 now. I got her right before I got my cat. I got her 2018, like Thanksgiving-ish. Yeah.
But how's the
That was how
dynamic?
many? Oh, 6 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. How's the dynamic with the cat between
Well,
you?
since I moved to this apartment, I had a really large, like open studio when I got her. And the the cat was 5 months when I got her, and I got them about a month apart. So the rabbit was already comfortable. The cat, however, was terrified. And that was a really funny story because I never expected my cat to be terrified of a rabbit because the rabbit that I have is a mini Rex, so she's tiny and she'll stay tiny forever. Um, and so they were about the same size when I got them. Obviously, the cat got older and bigger, and the rabbit got like a tiny bit bigger, but not really. So they get along for the most part, but after I moved, their dynamic changed, and I mean, my cat likes to chase her around a lot, but she doesn't know what she's doing. She's just like, "You're running away from me. This is fun." And every once in a while, my rabbit will get annoyed and be like, "Can you stop?" And
But
she'll like turn around on her
do you let it roam around?
if I can watch her.
All right. Because otherwise it will chew up all your shit,
Otherwise,
right?
she'll chew up everything I own. And I
Yeah.
don't have obviously I live in a one bedroom apartment. So like I am renting and I would like to get some of my deposit back instead of owing them more money afterwards. But that's probably not going to happen with how many things she's chewed. And yeah, and how many cables I've had to rebuy because I wasn't watching her and that kind of thing. So she'll free roam when I have time to like let her out.
Yeah. No, that's probably sensible.
Yeah. I wish I
Um,
could do it more often because I love having her run around and do her little jumps and stuff.
yeah. But has the cat outgrown the bunny now?
Yeah, she's definitely bigger, but like they'll still like huddle up next to each other. So they have this weird thing that they do where I could talk all damn day about my animals, sorry. So they have this weird thing where they do where they like I don't know if they're meaning to do this, but they like challenge each other to like groom. And so they just
Yeah.
like sit in this standstill of like, okay, well, you're grooming me, right? And they're like, no, you're grooming me. And they're just like, neither one of you are grooming either one of you. And you're just like stuck sitting here waiting for the other one to move. And it's so silly. Makes me laugh every time.
So it's like a Mexican standoff kind of thing.
Yeah,
Uh,
basically. Like, why are you guys like this? I don't know.
that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Um, Brenna, I'm very happy that you came on the podcast. So
Yeah, of
thank you
course.
so much. It was really fun talking to you and get your insights of being a female and working with producers and all that kind of stuff. And I hope we can educate a few people. Um, so, and
Yeah,
yeah,
I had fun.
I will obviously love to have you on later down the road as well. Um, so, on that note, this has been the Threadheads podcast. I'm Sinui. That's Brenna Menz. Thank you so much for watching.